We begin in Tokyo, where the leaders of South Korea and Japan are meeting in what's being hailed as a new milestone in their relationship. It's the first time a South Korean leader has been invited to Tokyo in 12 years. The two countries hope to rebuild security and economic ties in the face of the continued threat from North Korea. Well, just hours before the meeting, North Korea fired an intercontinental ballistic missile into waters between the Korean peninsula and Japan. It's the third missile launch by Pyongyang this week. Japan has called a National Security Council meeting in response to the latest test. Rob McBride has more now from Seoul on North Korea's missile launch and the meeting of the leaders of Japan and South Korea.
This is seen as a very significant visit. It's the first time that a South Korean president has gone on a bilateral visit to Japan in more than 10 years. President Yoon Suk-yeol wants to restore relations with Japan, but it is a very controversial summit meeting which has drawn a lot of opposition here domestically in South Korea from different groups protesting about different aspects of the relationship with Japan. But President Yoon wants to restore relations, meeting with Fumio Kishida, the Japanese Prime Minister. They take a similar view politically and also a very tough position when it comes to North Korea, wanting to re-establish relations. But there has been a lot of pushback here politically in what is often a very fraught relationship between these two neighbors.
BJ Kim is a professor of international studies at Hankuk University of Foreign Studies and a former South Korean diplomat. He joins us now live from Seoul. Good to have you with us, sir. So, a highly significant meeting, as we heard just now, but is it going to do anything to mend the two countries' relationship?
Mending the relationship is not going to happen in full scale this time with this first visit. This is going to be a starting point, but there will be the roads, the long list of barriers that the two countries and especially the two leaders of the two countries have to work together to overcome. For one, here in Korea, as reports said, it's the country is very much divided about Yoon's painful decision to go ahead with this move. And Yoon has to come back here and work on generating domestic consensus on this. And on the Japanese part as well, Kishida had worked very hard for producing, 2015 agreement between the two countries when he was foreign minister. And now he faces opposition and skepticism inside Japan, saying that South Korea changes government every several years. And when the new government, the progressive government, that's critical of this kind of move comes into power, everything will be changed. So those skeptical voices is holding Kishida back as well. So both leaders, while very much committed to improving the ties, they face domestic challenge on both sides.
In a geopolitical sense, why is it important that Japan and South Korea enjoy good relations?
For various reasons, but the national security reason comes to our minds as the first one, especially keeping in mind North Korea's threat. Japan and South Korea has to work together to work on the, North Korean missiles and nuclear weapons threat together. Going separate ways, it has diminished both sides' capability to counter this kind of missile threats. And Japan and Korea and the United States have to work together closely in dealing with this threat coming from Pyongyang.
In terms of North Korea's latest missile launch, what is the country trying to demonstrate right now?
Well, North Korea wants to be recognized as a power to be talked to, and they want to be invited to the table for negotiation, but while keeping their nuclear weapons. So, because they have made it very clear that they're going to keep their nuclear weapons, they're not being invited to the talks, but they want to continue to ratchet up the tensions in order to be paid attention to in a way, and they want to be called upon for talks. What they have in mind at this point is not denuclearization talk, rather arms control talk, recognizing North Korea as a nuclear power. That's what they have in mind, and that's why they're taking all these actions continuously, almost daily basis. Try to provoke our side.
All right, so they seem more or less eye to eye on North Korea, but where do Japan and South Korea stand on China?
Well, China is a rising threat, and both countries recognize that. And so there is a need to work together to counter China. Japan, South Korea standing alone just cannot deal with China as effectively as they can do together. So China is an important question in addition to North Korea. And that's why all the more the policymakers on both sides recognize the greater need for cooperation, the trilateral cooperation between Seoul, Tokyo, and Washington.
Good to talk to you, Professor. Many thanks indeed for being with us. BJ Kim there in Seoul.
Thank you.